Well, hello, Goddesses and Adoni. Thank you so much for calling into our fourth Wow Call of 2016. That means we only have two more to go. Can you believe it? Whew, this session is flying by. It is with a heavy heart that I must inform you that Julie Ann Jones lost her husband this week, who fought a courageous battle against cancer. If you've been on her Facebook page, maybe you saw her campaign, Love Trumps Cancer. Her husband passed away at home, and I don't know if you know this, but every call that she's recorded for us has been during the end of his life while he has been in hospice in their home. And she has demonstrated strength, even in the face of losing her beloved. She continued to record our calls and work her business. I'm just in awe of how she was able to manage those two things. When I spoke to her, she said to me, when I was hiring her to do the WOW program, she said to me, I need to let you know that my husband is dying of cancer, and, I can still do a good job for you, and I can still, get it all done. I've learned how to run my business from hospital rooms, and, I promise I'll do a great job. And, I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with what she has done for us with these calls while facing this adversity. Some of you have already heard about his passing, and you reached out to me asking what Athenas can do to show support to Julianne during this time. So I'm going to send a collection of sympathy cards on Thursday, February 18th. So if you're coming to the BBW next week, bring a sympathy card. I'll put it together with the card that I'm sending and a gift that I have for her. If you're not coming, send the card here to my attention by the 18th, and I'm going to ship them all together to Julianne with a gift from Athena's. So, since this session began, I've got to say how many of you have reached out to me and said, I love Julianne Jones. She speaks to me. She's so great. This is my favorite session ever. And that you're learning so much from her. And I'm glad. I'm glad that you like her. And based on your positive responses, I will bring her back for another session. And here at Athena's, it's undoubtedly happening. We are feeling this ripple effect of Julianne's amazing WOW trainings. We've had over-the-top successful results from the Blitz to two incredibly strong weekends of sales all over America. So listen to this. Danny Littleton did a $200 party and got 2 bookings. This is a big deal, and let me tell you why. Danny joined Athena's in November, met her at a Now event, fell madly in love with her and her wife, thought they were just incredible. She's very, very new. She came to the January meeting, and she came up to the side of the stage, and she's like, okay, I'm not going to see you for a while, I'm moving. She moved to Georgia from Maine just a few weeks ago, and she's already getting her business up and running with so much passion. So way to go, Danny. I'm going to come visit you in Georgia. We're going to have a blast, so I'm so proud of you for doing what you're doing. Adonis Justin Bardo, he did a $433 spa party in Pennsylvania. So Justin is constantly posting and promoting his business, and I'm so happy to see him experiencing success. So way to go, Justin, in Pennsylvania. Ashley Kiefer, following up last weekend, she had a $900 weekend. And this weekend, $500 party with 3 bookings out in South Dakota. She's building a business in a place where Athena's didn't exist until she got going. So way to go, Ashley. So excited I'm going to see you soon. Rosie Lee from Massachusetts, $840 party. Rebecca Richmond from New York, $1,300 weekend with 3 bookings. Danielle Peller from New Hampshire drove to Long Island to do a party with her friends because that's where she's from, sold $1,100. Bang. Nicole Martell from Rhode Island did her first couples party in over 5 years, $1,000 party. Bang. Angie Johnson, back after 2015, filled with health issues, surgeries, problems with her hip, $600 party. Bang. Welcome back, Angie. Vanessa Berthium, $600 party, got 6 bookings. Wow, 6 bookings. Amazing. Sunshine, Yolanda Miller, had her largest party to date and had a whole room full of backup singers waving sex toys when she sang her song. Now that should have been the Super Bowl halftime video, I swear. So much better than what I saw. Karen Koontz got to sing her $1,000 party song with her kids singing backup for her during a party that she had with a bunch of ladies. Well, her kids weren't with her during the party, but after her party, she did a party with a bunch of ladies who had a very unpleasant experience with a competitor, and they loved Karen. Of course, she got to go home and sing the $1,000 party song with her kids. Danielle Potter, another one, singing the song with 3 adorable little backup singers. And, I loved her little girl and her behind her going, $1,000 party, $1,000 party. It's so cool that you're involving your children because they're learning about the joys of success. It's so amazing. Kim Pelletier popped her $1,000 party cherry. Go, Kim. Christina Cersei, Megan Connolly, Teresa Foden, Nicole Whalen, Michaela Reef all had $1,000 parties last weekend, too. Bravo, ladies, bravo. Belinda Brides announces on the WOW page that she reached her WOW goal already, and we still have 11 weeks to go. Linda Norton had a $1,000 weekend, used some of her profits to purchase her daughter an iPod Nano for her 10th birthday. So happy birthday, Morgan. I remember when your mom was a very pregnant goddess of the year. Wow, Linda, a decade flying by in a flash. Happy birthday to Morgan. And sweet Holly Farquhar, she had a $1,600 weekend and placed her first ever $2,500 supply order as an indie goddess. Huge milestone. And I love that she used some of her party money to purchase Monster Jam tickets to surprise her son. That's what it's all about. It's about making money that will make your life better and impact the lives of everyone around you in a positive way. Awesome, Holly. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I had a blast at Monster Jam. Jamie Blewin did a $2,000 party this weekend, and even though she didn't sing the song for us on video, I was singing it while I read her post and looked at the photo that she posted of her final numbers from that epic party. Way to go, Jamie. Way to go. And finally, there is Katie Gwynn, who sold $2,400 in 3 parties in just 2 days and made over $1,000 to help her get some of those home renovations done to her new home that she just moved into in the last 6 months. So happy for you, Katie. You worked so hard. I know you needed it. Congratulations. There's so much success, so much inspiration. This year is different. 2016 feels like it's going to be one of great change and great prosperity for all of us. And we still technically have another Valentine's Day weekend. Do you know that? So this week, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, amazing days to host educational, entertaining, and empowering parties that bring people together to celebrate love, whether it's with themselves or a partner for Valentine's Day. Our parties make people happy. They overflow with learning and laughter. The better your party experience, the better your bookings. So tonight's call with Julianne is about creating an extraordinary party experience. She has some great ideas to share with you. So before I turn the call over to her, I'm going to give you a special code word. Remember to listen carefully for these code words as they occur throughout the call. So the code words, as you know, let us know that you were here, and they go towards your spoils of war. So here's your first code word. It's create. C-R-E-A-T-E. Your first code word is create. And now, here she is, Julianne Jones.
Hi there, Julianne Jones here, and I'd like to welcome you to the next video in the WOW program. Hopefully you've been listening to these videos and applying what you're learning, doing the worksheets, and you're noticing a difference in your business because of it. That's my goal. During this video, I'm going to be teaching you my successful party formula. We're going to go through each section of your party, and you're going to learn how to do a presentation that's fun, get your guests involved, and brings you sales, sponsoring, and booking results that you're hoping to get from your parties in order to have a successful business. And everything I'm going to be teaching you is applicable whether you're doing an in-person party in someone's home or you're doing an actual virtual event. And I'm going to talk about virtual parties in the next WOW video. But a virtual party that is done online. And I'm not talking about a Facebook party where you just take orders, but I'm talking about an actual live virtual party. You can actually take this formula and translate it into an online party where you can actually broadcast yourself via a video cam, webcam, interact with people there. So we're going to talk about that on the next WOW video, but I just want you to pay attention to this formula because you can use it for either in-home or virtual parties. So let's jump in and talk about this successful party format. Now the key, as you're going to learn in this video, is to focus on the experience that your guests are having at your party, whether they're joining you live in someone's home or you're doing a virtual party. My intention for this video is that you take a really good hard look at the results that you're currently getting, or maybe not getting, from your parties. That's what I'm going to refer to them as, just so you know. No matter what you tend to call them, classes, shows, whatever, I believe they're supposed to be parties. And the more you can make them parties, the better your results are going to be. So that's what I'm going to call them. Just know when I say party, I'm referring to that thing that you do when you go to somebody's house with your products, or online too. I'm going to invite you to be open to updating, changing, and maybe even completely reworking your presentation. Because I want to get real for a second. You party for a living. You work in a party plan structure. And parties really are the lifeblood of your business. They're going to make or break your success. Now, to begin with, let me share with you that when I was a direct seller doing 3 parties a week, I loved my job. And I didn't just love it because I got to make my own hours and I was making great money, although those things were definitely nice. I loved it for one simple reason. My parties were fun, not just for my guests, but also for me. So you have to understand this. If you're not having fun at your parties, I guarantee your guests won't be having fun. And if they're not having fun, they're not going to be buying or booking or interested in doing what you do, which is how you sponsor. So everything that you learned during this video is designed to do one simple thing, and that is make sure that your guests are having a great experience, a fun experience at your parties. And if you can figure out how to do that, I'm going to give you all kinds of tools to make that simple, then you're going to succeed in your business. So getting this part of your business figured out, I believe, can affect all of your business like ripples in a pond. It kind of touches every other part of a successful direct sales business. Your business relies on parties for more bookings, sales, and recruiting leads. And if you're a leader, I hope you're using your parties to teach your downline with on-the-job training by taking them with you to your parties. So yes, parties are that important. I'm also going to warn you that I'm probably going to blow up some pretty big assumptions that you might have about how you currently do parties. So remember the phrase, change is good. That is a really important part of what we're going to go through in this video, because I'm going to be talking about sort of the way you've always done it, maybe. And I want you to be prepared for a few bombshells around the way you've always done it. Now, I'm sure you realize that there are 2 different kinds of bookings in our industry. Bookings from parties, which I define as easy, and creative bookings, which are a heck of a lot more work. Now, I don't know about you, but I will take easy over hard work every time, especially if it brings me the same results or even better results. You want to get bookings from your parties, what I call duplicating your parties from your parties. And the simple truth is, unless your guests are having a great experience at your party, they're not likely to want to repeat that experience with their friends. So you can use all kinds of booking gimmicks, but none of them are going to work if all your guests are thinking is, when is this over? When can I get out of here? I'm not having fun. So here's the first bombshell for you, and you're going to want to learn this well. It's not about you or your products. See, people don't come to your party for your products. I want you to think about that for a second. Okay, I don't have to come to a party to get your products. I can get them online. I can order them directly, even maybe from you, from your online catalog. So why would I show up at a live party? Not for your products, for the experience. So you better make sure that you're providing an experience that's positive for your guests. So I had a winning formula for a party experience that brought me 2 to 4 bookings every single time I did a party. And it was simple. 70% party, 30% products. So your main job is to determine what would make this experience extraordinary for my guests, and then focus 70% of your energy on that extraordinary experience. So it's obvious that I believe in this concept, that experience has to be fun. But you might be sitting there asking yourself, well, don't you think that just happens naturally because it's a home party? Well, that would seem logical, but I don't necessarily believe that. So here's the second bombshell. 95% of the people that get invited to your home party are cynical and have had a bad experience at a previous home party. And I'm sorry, but you know that as well as I do, because you might even be one of those people when you attend other parties, right? So you know that it's true. You might even be one of those guests who doesn't go to home parties because they're just not fun. You know, you do them, but you don't go. We're jaded as guests because of our past experiences. The old tricks and language that you might have been taught or maybe even have, were using or are using now even, kind of stopped working once people figured out what you were really doing. In other words, if you offer to play a game, for instance, with your guests, where they, quote, win a prize at the end, and your real goal is for them to book a party with you, you're probably not going to get very many takers. They've been down that road. So a huge part of your job is making sure people understand from the very first exposure they have to you that you are different and that this experience is going to be different. So this industry started out about 50 years ago. And in those days, it was not socially acceptable for our mothers and grandmothers to just tell our fathers and grandfathers, hey, honey, I'm going out with the girls tonight, and then head out the door for a girls' night out. Okay, that was not socially acceptable. But it was okay to say, Mary's having a Tupperware party, or I'm going to Carol's Mary Kay party. That was okay. Their husbands were like, yeah, have fun. And then they got behind closed doors, and it was all about that connection. The industry, I think, kind of got a bad rap in the 80s because representatives realized that there was a lot of money to be made, and some of them started showing up and just collecting orders. So the bottom line is, girls just want to have fun, just like the song says. And the very first thing that you have to do at your parties is communicate the fun that's in store for your guests. So how do your guests know what to expect? Well, remember, they're probably already expecting it to be fairly painful and a chore. So you have to overcome that. And I call that experience or that expectation the next girlfriend syndrome. So if you've ever been with anybody who was with someone who didn't treat them very well, they kind of have an opinion about all women treat men this way, right? And so that you're with that person and you're paying for the sins of the person before you or 5 people before you who didn't treat them very well. And you become that next girlfriend, but you're really paying the price for someone else. And that's what happens with your guests, a lot of your guests at your parties. They've had a bad experience. You're a direct seller too, and so they expect that. So a strong opening for your party is essential because it sets up your guests to be involved and to know what to expect from you. So I'm going to share the opening that I used at my parties with you, and you can choose to do this verbatim, or you can take bits and pieces that you think are going to work for you. The key to this opening is that it's intentional and it gets the guests involved from the very beginning. So I always started out by asking if anybody in the room had ever done the hokey pokey. And now if you're in my generation, the answer is yes, and you did it on roller skates, right? And the reason for that was I would ask them, what's the final verse of the hokey pokey? Now everyone's done the hokey pokey at some point. And so this is a reference everybody gets, right? And so the last verse of the hokey pokey is you put your whole self in. And I would tell them, tonight is the last verse of the hokey pokey experience. I want you to put your whole self in with me because I'm a fun girl, but I can't create a party all by myself. I need your help. So I'm going to ask you to put your whole self in with me and make this a fun evening. And everybody understands that reference and they get from the beginning that you want them to be involved. So next I outlined the rules for the evening with my guests. And these are essential because they not only put you in charge, but they set the tone for the rest of the night. So I'm going to go over those rules. But first, this is where I want to tell you that the code word for this video is fun. The code word is fun. So let's talk about those 3 rules. I said I just have 3 rules for this evening. They're very simple. Rule number 1, you must have fun. And I actually would appoint a cheerleader, and I used props during my party too because I believe really strongly that they keep people involved, that most people are visual, they love props. So I would pick the most cheerleader-ish person in the room and I would give her the pom-poms and I'd say, okay, Tiffany, you're the cheerleader, and your job, if I say something that you think is funny or I show a product that you really love, you're going to just pick up your pom-poms and cheer, woohoo! And you're a cheerleader, not a cheer soloist, so everybody else is going to join in with you. Let's practice. And then we would. And usually it was lame, and I'd say that was lame, do it again. So you get them all involved, and they know this is the rule. Got to have fun. And I would kind of joke, if at any point you're not having fun, just raise your hand, and I'll come around and see to it that you start having fun. I take that job very seriously. Okay, so that's the first rule. Rule number 2, you're not allowed to say anything negative about anyone or anything during my party. And this is really important because negativity, especially about your products, can bring down the energy of the room, especially with what you all do. You get one person who's a little bit negative and everybody kind of piles on. And so you want to make sure that you have this rule so that people understand that they're not allowed to be negative. And then I would appoint a party cop. And I gave the party cop a squirt gun. You don't have to use that if you don't want, but I always loved it because I would tell the person, I always picked the most dour conservative looking person in the room, and she was the party cop, and I'd say, if anybody says anything negative, you're aiming for the face, honey, okay? And everybody laughed, and usually the only person who ever got squirted in the face was me. And that was fine with me. It meant that they were paying attention. I'd deliberately say something borderline negative, and you're being negative, squirt me in the face. So, second rule, no negativity. And then the final rule number 3, you must listen to my commercials. And I'm going to keep them fun and short and sweet, I promise. But I would say, really pretty much during the presentation, if you want to talk to your neighbor, if you want to go get a second cup of coffee, glass of wine, brownie, whatever, that's great. But when I say it's time for a commercial, that's when I really want you to pay attention. And I want you to do that because those are the times you're going to have 3 commercials, which I'm going to talk about in a minute: booking, sponsoring, and sales. That's why you're there, right? That's the time you want them to really pay attention. This is a party, folks. It's not a lecture. It's okay if they talk, if they interact. But when you want them to listen, you want them to listen. And those are the things that are the most important. And I'm going to tell you, people tend to do what they're told. And if you say to them, when it's time for commercial, what I would say is, when it's time for commercial, I'll say, time for commercial. And then Tiffany's going to woohoo with her pom-poms. And then you just need to be quiet and listen for about 2 minutes. And they did. Time for commercial. And they'd all go, shh, okay, listen. People do what they're told. Okay. So I have included a worksheet with this video that you can download, and it's going to help you script out your party opening, okay? So let's talk about these commercials. I want to talk about how you use these to increase the results from your parties. My third rule during that opening of the party was an agreement with my audience, really, that I'd be doing these commercials, and so to be ready for them. Now, I always say, as I said, people tend to do what they're told. And so if you set this up ahead of time, that should not be a problem. If you don't set them up, they're not going to know what to expect, and these are going to come out of the blue and they're going to feel uncomfortable. Okay, so what I love about commercials is they're duplicatable, they're comfortable. That is really important. They engage your audience. So everybody feels comfortable, you feel comfortable, your audience feels comfortable, and they're comfortable engaging with you around that commercial. And they get your message across with intention. So you're not trying to slip something in under the door. You're not it's like, I think we all sort of feel like if we just drop enough seeds, that people will come up and find themselves booking at the end and not even realize it. Like it's some big magical thing. No, you need to be upfront. I'm going to talk to you about what you get when you book a party with me. That makes you comfortable. It makes your guests comfortable. They get the message, but it's intentional. Now, I use the term commercials because everybody could relate to that. And I love the concept. Especially for new representatives, this concept is powerful because it's easy for them to have focused time during their presentation when they know it's okay to talk about booking, recruiting, and shopping. There's no uncomfortable, I feel pushy, because it's very intentional. You still want them to drop seeds. I still want you to drop seeds. That's important. But sometimes, especially when they're new, they might forget to do that. And then they walk out, with a V8 moment. Oh, I forgot to drop those booking seeds, and with no bookings. The commercials just give you an intentional time to talk about it during your party. So let's talk about commercial cards. And I love this because it's a way to get into your commercials without it feeling kind of weird. So if you just say, okay, time for a commercial, and you just like launch into it, that might be uncomfortable. Instead, I would say time for commercial, and I would hand someone a 3x5 card and say, Sue, you look like you have a question. And I'd hand her the card, and it had a question written on it. And she would read the question off the card. It was kind of cheesy and corny, but it got people's attention. And by the second or third time you do that, they're all like, okay, we're in on the joke. So these are the questions that I used. Question number 1, what do I receive for scheduling a fun night out with my friends? That's a great booking question. I'm so glad you asked me that, Sue. Let me tell you. And then you do a booking commercial. Why do you love your job? That's a great sponsoring question. I'd love to tell you why I love my job. How do I save money on my order? Or what's the easiest way to order? That's a perfect segue into the shopping commercial. Okay? So these commercial cards are a simple way to help, again, keep your audience involved and help you segue comfortably into these commercials. So let's talk about the booking commercial. This is a really simple, maybe, 1 minute to 2 minute time during your party when you really talk about, answer the question, what would make someone want to book a party with me? And there is a worksheet called Creating Your Booking Commercial, and that's going to help you create your own commercial. But I do want to go through just briefly what this looks like. So that question, what would make someone want to book a party with you? Maybe your fun personality, maybe a chance to have a night out with their friends, maybe because they want to help the current host, okay? And also themes. I'm a big believer in theme parties. I love theme parties. So your booking commercial is really just a chance for you to say, hey, let me tell you what you get when you book a party with me. And you're just going to talk very briefly about what that looks like. And I would generally say, how many of you are having fun tonight? And hopefully they're all going to raise their hands. Well, how many of you have said in the last, month or so, I've got to call so-and-so, or gosh, we've got to get together. It's been so long since we've connected. And most busy people, especially women, are going to raise their hand. Well, what if I told you could get together with all those people that you've said that to all in one night and have a chance to connect with them all? And if you tell me you're busy, I'm going to tell you that you absolutely need to book a party because you need a break. So I'm your answered prayer right here, okay? So that's really what a party is all about. It's a chance for you to get together with your friends, have a great time, and learn a little something because there's a big educational component to what you all do. And it doesn't matter whether you have 3 or 10 people sitting in your living room. I'm going to make sure that everybody walks out saying, that is the most fun I've ever had at one of these home parties. And if you're one of my hosts, I'm going to do all the work for you. I'm even going to send your invitations for you. So let me show you what you receive when you become one of my hosts. So there's that language. You can rewind this video and listen to it again. You can tweak it, but that was an example of how my booking commercial sounded. And then I would simply bring someone up and I would either do a hostess stacking. I would show maybe a couple of pages in the catalog. My average host receives about this much stuff for free or reduced price. So you're just sharing with them. You're going to get a ton of free stuff if you book a party with me. Don't go over your host plan. They don't care about that. If you walk into a party tonight and you say to the host, if you have a $500 or $1,000 party, how much free and reduced product are you going to get? She's not going to know, even if she has a copy of your host plan in front of her. That's not her job, okay? What you want to do is communicate. When you book a party with me, you're going to have fun. Your friends are going to have fun. I'm going to make it a great experience, and you're going to get a ton of free stuff, okay? And like I said, I love themes. Wine and cheese tasting, chocoholic, there are all kinds of great themes. And themes tend to make people want to attend and make hosts want to book. Okay, so I want to talk just briefly about what I call a booking tree. Okay, so you want to have a way to share your party dates. So once you're done with that commercial, you want to have a way for them to actually choose a date with you, to show them the dates that you're available. And I use what I call party date cards. Okay, so party date cards, and there's a picture of this here. They're just a small card that I did 4 to a page. You can cut them out. I have a product called Powerful Tools for Your Direct Sales Business that has a bunch of templates, and this is one of the templates. But it just has a place for the date, time, date, and time for the party, all the host information, name, address, email, text, cell phone. Do you text, yes or no? Most people, yes now, but I think that's on this because not everybody does. Although, unless they're pretty old, they do. But anyway, maybe you could even ask what's your preferred method of being contacted. And then there's a place on this card for the date and time of the host coaching appointment as well. So essentially, what I love about these cards is they're basically your parties book themselves when you use these cards, because you pull out, once you're done with your booking commercial, you pull out the booking tree. You say, these are the dates I'm available for the next 4 to 6 weeks. If you know for sure you want a Tuesday, for instance, go ahead and choose that now. So before I run out of those, just pick the date you want. Fill in all the information on the card. Give me 5 minutes before you leave, and I will get you all set up. Okay? If you know when you're working and you have those dates highlighted on your calendar, that still opens up your calendar to somebody to say, well, can't you do this date? There's nothing there. And you maybe have something that you do every Wednesday night that isn't on your calendar. So having these party date cards gives somebody a very finite, these are the choices, and people tend to do what they're told, right? And so they're going to pick that card. You can also use these cards and bookings that you get that night as a sponsoring tool with your host, okay? Because at the end of that evening, you sit down with her to close the party, you share with her the bookings that you got that night, and remember, I told my host I considered these bookings hers, not mine. You can tell her that you'll take those and you'll do them if she's not interested, but you just need her to know that you consider these bookings hers, and share with her why you think she'd be great at what she does, or what you do, And if she still says no, make sure she knows she can keep considering this, and she can let you know if she ever changes her mind. Okay. The other thing that I did with these cards is I would poke a little hole in the corner, and I would attach just a simple dollar store ankle bracelet or something really inexpensive, no more than $5, that I called an instant booking gift. Some people actually have a bag, like a grab bag, and if you book a party, then you get an instant booking gift. You know, you can pick something out of that bag. It's a small thing, but people tend to do something if they know they're going to get something for free. And so this is a great tool. The thing that you're looking at there, the photo holder, I like that because it's very visual. It's called Sputnik, just like the Russian satellite. And if you Google Sputnik, you'll see, I know they sell these on Amazon. You can pick one of these up for about $20. And they're awesome because they telescope, so you can push them down when you're done with it, and it makes it easy for you to travel with it. So this concept works great if somebody's ready to book. But what about those people who are on the fence? They didn't say no, but they haven't said yes. Well, for those people, that's where my think about it packets come in. So when somebody isn't really ready to say yes, but they also aren't saying no to a booking, I always made it my goal to send them out the door with one of my hostess packets. Now, the problem that I found was that when I asked them if they wanted to take one of my hostess packets with them, they usually said no, because they thought that meant that I expected them to book a party. So I just changed the name for this particular purpose from hostess packet to think about it packet. And they were exactly the same thing. So I want to make that clear. The think about it packet is just a hostess packet that I called a think about it packet, because I found people were a lot more willing to take one of my think about it packets than they were a host packet, especially once I gave them some really specific rules that I followed around my packet. So here's what I'd say. Can I just send you home with a think about it packet so that you can think about whether you'd like to book a party? And if she said yes, which she usually did, sure, I'll take a think about it packet. Okay, I just have 3 rules for these packets, okay? And they're really simple. Rule number 1, you have to actually think about it, okay? And if, just sometime in the next couple days before we talk on the phone, you have to take some time and go open the packet, look in there and think about whether you'd like to book a party. And then we're going to set up a time to talk sometime in the next 3 to 4 days. It's going to take about 5 minutes, literally. So we'll put that time on the calendar. And rule number 2 is you have to take my call at the time that we've agreed upon. So you commit to that. You take the think about it packet. You say, yes, call me Wednesday at noon. You got to take my call when I call you. I don't want to hear somebody in the background, you in the background going, tell him I'm not home. And that was always kind of a joke. So that's the second rule. And the final rule, you have to let me down easy if your answer is no. Now, this is the most important rule of all with these think about it packets, because you're essentially giving her permission to say no, which makes it easier for her to take the packet and consider it and oftentimes say yes. It's amazing, this sort of reverse psychology that's at play here. Okay, so those are the 3 rules. You have to think about it, you have to take my call, and you have to let me down easy if your answer is no. So you're already saying you don't have to say yes, and if you say no, I'm going to be fine. And so that gives her a chance to open up the possibility of booking the party. And I'm telling you, folks, 75% of the time, these think about it packets will engender a yes when you call to follow up, and you got to do that. That's an important part of it. Awesome. So once you've set them up and they're having fun, they're getting involved, you go through the presentation. You've gone through your shown some of your products, you've done your booking commercial. I also did a sponsoring commercial, and my sponsoring commercial was pretty simple. It basically just talked to them about what I loved about my job, and I made sure that they all were really clear that if they were interested, they certainly could, let me know at the end of the evening. I used what I called not a think about it packet. That's what I just talked about. The think about it packet is for booking. The opportunity gift bag is what I used for sponsoring, and I would just throw all my sponsoring material, and then plus like a votive candle and some chocolate and some bath beads in this bag, and I would say, I have a gift for you. I'll follow up with you in a couple days. Enjoy. That was the extent of the conversation. I didn't try to sponsor them, and they basically would take that with them, and there would be a little instruction card in there. Run a bath, throw in the bath beads, relax with some chocolate, and consider starting your own business, or what it might be like to have your own business. So I wanted to make them feel valued without feeling like I was trying to sponsor them. Okay, so that's really important. Perfect. So the final piece of this then, So we've gone through pretty much the whole presentation. You've done a couple of commercials. The last, remember I said there were 3 commercials, so booking, sponsoring. The final one is a sales commercial. And that card for that, if you remember, was just simply, how do I save money on my order, or what's the easiest way to order? And that commercial makes it really easy for you to segue into the shopping experience with them. So I'm so glad you asked that question. Let's talk about this because it's almost time to shop. Now, this is the part that I think most direct sellers are worried about, or it creates anxiety for them, or they feel pushy. And the truth is, that's crazy because most women love to shop. So this should be the time when you go, okay, ladies, now you get to do something you all love to do, and that's shop. We're at the shopping portion of the party. So I can't wait to hand out the catalogs, and it's a great way for you to segue into all the information they need to know about how to order and how your catalog works and yada, yada. And I know that most of the time you probably bring people individually to do their order, maybe into an order room or whatever. This is a great time to talk about how that works because they might be a little bit uncomfortable about how they're going to order. So you educate them after that commercial. Now, I'm also a big believer in setting up your host right at the beginning of the shopping experience so that she doesn't inadvertently sabotage your party by redirecting the energy, like, hey, come upstairs and see my new bathroom, or look at this 200-page photo album of my daughter's wedding, right? And then all the energy from your party goes right out of the room. So the best way to keep that from happening is to give your host a job. She can help you tidy up, she can serve food, or it can be as simple as giving her the job, and I publicly would announce it, of picking out her free and half-priced items and filling up her wish list. Okay, so I know Carol's been a great host, but now she gets to sit down, relax, put her feet up, and fill out her host order form because she's going to have a ton of free and reduced products. And so I want to make sure that she has time to fill out her wish list. That sets your host up to really know what she's supposed to be doing. And then you want to make sure you set up your guests for what comes next. So you give them the catalog. Like I said, you tell them how to order, how to pay, what your specials are, all those things. So you're really intentional as you step into that shopping experience. And I think most direct sellers aren't. And I see them just kind of go, okay, that's my presentation. And nobody really knows exactly what to do next. You want to be intentional. You want to direct them. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how this works. Any questions? So that this shopping experience really becomes a time when not only they understand how to order, but then you're having those conversations around, wow, look at all the items on your wish list. We need to book a party. I don't want you to have to pay for all these. Or, oh my gosh, it looks like maybe they filled out your door prize drawing slip, or what I call your party date, door prize drawing, guest care card. Which basically says, how interested are you in booking a party with me? And, then you see that maybe they have an interest and you bring up that conversation. This is the time, the shopping time, when it all really happens. It's the time when you get bookings. It's the time when you get sponsoring leads. It's the time when you get sales. And so the rest of the party is really about setting up this time so that you take from that party exactly what you need. So make sure that you take the time to really decide how you're going to set up your guests for that and your host for that shopping experience. Whew, that's a lot. We're right at 30 minutes. I fit a lot into this time. That is the basic premise outline of my party presentation. And again, you can do this whether you're doing a virtual party, which I'm going to be talking about on the next WOW presentation, or a live in-person party. Thanks so much. Hope you're having a fabulous day. I am a part of your Facebook group now, so if you do want to post a question over there, a follow-up question, I should see that. Try to tag me if you can, Julianne Jones, Ann with an E, and then I'll definitely see it. And I'm looking forward to our next training. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you again, Julie. I love these new ideas. Pom-poms for the dour person to help perk them up. Wow. I love that. 3 ground rules, so easy to follow. And to think about it, packets. I love that. Like, love, love, love that. What did you love? I hope that you'll share it in your aha moments. So I want to remind you, before I close the call and give you your final code word, that the February BBW is 1 week from today, Wednesday, February 17th, and it's going to be one of those historic nights at Athena's. I'm making a huge announcement that you don't want to miss. Sexpert Lisa Hoopus will be here covering sex with disabilities. Our raffle money is going to go to raise money for an agency that supports people with disabilities. Goddess trainer mermaid Cece Valero, she's going to be doing her demo. We'll be doing raffles, recognizing our top sellers and recruiters and leaders, and best of all, we're going to be practicing our flash mob dance pearly shells for the trip to Hawaii. And whether you're going to Hawaii or not, you can still be part of this flash mob. Come dance and have a great time with us. We have an awesome evening planned for you. And it pays to participate. You get a golden circle of leadership point for your attendance or your participation in the streaming audience. And you get a point towards your WOW requirement, so you can get the maximum spoils of war. So be there or be square. Okay, time to give you the final code word and instructions to submit it. All you warriors who listen on Warrior Wednesday and submit your code words and your aha moment by midnight have a chance to win an item from the new line. You can add it to your demo, use it as a hostess incentive, raffle it off, keep it for yourself, whatever you want. It's up to you. It's very simple. Open your email, the one that you received that contained the link for this call, and fill out the digital form. I also posted it in the WOW community, too, if that's easier for you. You must fill out your form by midnight on Warrior Wednesday in order to get entered to win the free item. So share your aha moment with me. What did you love about this call? I want to know what you love most. You have till 11:59 p.m. on Friday, February 12th to complete and submit the Google Docs survey if you couldn't listen on Warrior Wednesday. That's fine. We give you a grace period. You have till Friday, February 12th at 11:59 to submit it so that we know you were here and it goes towards your spoils of war. Easy peasy, right? So now here's your final code word that you've been waiting for. It's parties, P-A-R-T-I-E-S. Your final code word is parties, P-A-R-T-I-E-S. So thanks so much to Julianne and to all of you that listened. Julianne will be back on Wednesday, February 25th to talk more about virtual parties. There is no WOW call next week because it's the BBW. So thanks for being present on this call, Warrior. I appreciate you. I'm wishing you another profitable weekend of parties. I'm also sending love to you and yours as you celebrate the most romantic day of the year, Valentine's Day. And may your love life and your life overflow with love and orgasms. Lots and lots of orgasms. Good night and God is blessed.